Making something with kisses today. I love the Kiss cookies. These are peanut butter Kiss cookies every holiday season. I don't know why I don't make them except at holidays, but I don't. So I'm gonna make some of those little cookies that you put the chocolate Kiss down in. You know what I'm talking about. You saw those, but I love to make them. So that's what we're gonna have today. First thing you're gonna do is get your dry ingredients together, and we need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Let's get that first. You need a small bowl. And you know, I was reading the other day, and I think we've had this as a Tuesday tip. Don't put your measuring cup down in your flour and dip it out. You should take a smaller measuring cup and dip it into your measuring cup like that. And the reason is because when you dip your measuring cup down into the flour, it packs the flour down in there, and you can end up with too much flour. So that's a good tip, a freebie today. Okay, there's 1 cup, and now I need 1/2 cup of that all-purpose flour. All right, there we go, 1.5 cups of flour. And now we need some salt. I need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, now we're just going to whisk that together. Get those dry ingredients whisked and mixed up a little bit, and we're going to just set that aside for a few minutes while we work on our wet ingredients. Okay, just going to set this aside. You've already got your oven turned on to 375, so it's heating up, getting ready for these yummy Kiss cookies. All right, so now in your mixer bowl, you know, I saw something today. I saw a thing where somebody had made like a kind of a little cap or a top to put on the mixing bowl, because when it sits in your mixer, it gets dusty, and sometimes I forget to clean it out. I did today. I've already cleaned it out, but that would help to keep that dust from getting in. So I want to find those. Okay, so to this, you're going to mix in your butter and sugar. So we need 8 tablespoons of butter. Got 6 right there. And I'm going to get 2 more. Okay. Now we need brown sugar and regular sugar. 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar. Now your sugar you can dip down in with your measuring cup. It doesn't get too thick for you. So 1/4 cup, or too heavy. 1/4 cup of sugar. Now your brown sugar, you want to pack it in. So we want 3/4 cup of brown sugar. It calls for light brown sugar, but all I have is dark. So I'm making it with dark today. And we pack that in really good. So there we go. We've got 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Now we're going to put this on the mixer. Now, my mixer has 3 attachments. I never know for sure which one to use. I'm assuming this is like for a whisk. So if I'm going to whisk together eggs or the flour, I would use this. This one is my dough hook. I know it. I know that if I'm making breads or crusts, I would use this. And this one, it has a name, but I've forgotten what it is. But this piece on here is supposed to help it to scrape down the bowl, and at the bottom of it to get down into the bottom of the bowl. So this is what I'm using. I don't really know what this one is called, but if you know, be sure to tell me. I'm going to use this one. And I need for this to blend till those sugars and butter are really mixed together. It's going to take about 2 minutes. So I'm going to set the mixer and let that go for a couple minutes, and then we'll get the rest of the ingredients in and get our cookies going. Okay, my cookie mix is all mixed. I am going to scrape down the sides a little bit because I'm going to add a couple of more ingredients and start it mixing again. We now need to add to this 1 egg, and I'm going to break my egg in a separate bowl just to ensure that I don't get any eggshells in that. I don't want to eat eggshells in my cookies, right? Okay, eggs ready. And then I have my vanilla bean vanilla that has, it's ready and I've been using it. It took about 4 months is how long I've had it in here. Look how dark it is. Smells so good. I need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let me get a 1 teaspoon right here. 1 teaspoon. Okay. And then we're going to let this mix up. We're going to put this back on the mixer with this paddle attachment. And I'm going to let that now mix together for a few minutes. And while that's doing that, you can take out your pan, your cookie sheet, whatever kind of pan you like to do your cookies on. And you need to go ahead and either put down some parchment paper, or I am going to use Nan's pan coating. I'm just going to spread a little bit of this coating all over my pan because I sure don't want those cookies to stick. But if you don't want to do this, you could put down some parchment paper, or you could even spray if you like using spray. I'm not a big fan of the sprays, so I've started using this pan coating on all of mine. All right, I'm going to finish this, and we're going to let that cookie mix finish up before we start adding our flour. So I'll be back in a sec. My pan is coated, just waiting on the cookies, but there is another ingredient that I need to get into the mixer. These are peanut butter kiss cookies. So I've got to add my peanut butter. I need 1 cup of peanut butter. And have you noticed how expensive peanut butter is? It's so hard to believe that things can cost so much. This is the creamy Peter Pan, my favorite. I've already scraped out my last jar. I don't want to leave any peanut butter behind. So I'm going to fill this up to 1 cup. And then I'm going to just put this right into the mixer. Okay. Let me add this to the mixer. All right, there we go. Now we're going to let this continue for a few minutes, for maybe a minute, until that gets completely combined, and then we'll be adding our flour. So we'll be back in a second. All right, we're going to add that flour a little at a time. And with the mixer on a very low mixing number. You want it to be going slow so you can add in your flour and not have it all over everywhere. And it needs to go in a little at a time again so that it doesn't fly everywhere. So let's get the rest of this added. Okay, while that is mixing, you got to do some unrolling. So it's time to uncover our kisses. We're going to need probably 24 of these kisses. So I'm going to be busy trying to keep from eating these kisses. So I'll take a few minutes to unroll these while my mixture is finishing up. So your dough is done. Looks really good. Here's what you do next. And you got your pan ready too. So a little bit of sugar out on a parchment paper or a cutting board, whatever you have. And take small amounts. I'm making these pretty small because I don't know how much they're going to spread out in the pan. And you got to work kind of fast. And I'm rolling them in a little bit of sugar. And I'm laying them out on my pan. I'm going to turn my camera down so you can see just what I'm doing. Okay. I'm using my hands here to get just a small amount, about, I guess, a tablespoon size, and rolling them in sugar and laying them out on my already greased pan, or you can use parchment paper if you want. And if you have a scoop that you'd rather use and it works for you, that's fine. These are not real sticky. The dough is not real sticky, and I don't know how much they're going to spread, so I'm making them kind of small. But if you have a scoop of some kind and you want to use that, you can. Just scoop it out onto your sugar, and we'll roll it into the sugar like this and just carry them over to your cutting board, just like that. Now, do any of you ever do a cookie swap at Christmas time? I haven't been to one in a long time, but I have some friends who used to do that. I don't know, I don't think they've done it in a while, but where everybody makes a batch of cookies, maybe take, depending on how many people you have come to the party, you take enough so that you can swap out cookies with everybody at the party. And when you go home with all kinds of different kinds of cookies. I've done that a few times. It's a lot of fun. Just have everybody make their, whatever kind they like, and make enough to share so that everybody has maybe 8 to 10 cookies to take home. So these are a really, really easy cookie and would be so fun to do with the kids. It'd be so fun to do to take to an event, or so fun to have for a cookie swap. There's nothing to making these. The dough's really easy. Add a little peanut butter. I have another recipe where there's not peanut butter in them, so if you're allergic or you don't really like peanut butter, you don't have to use the peanut butter. The recipe was practically the same. It just didn't have peanut butter in it. So you could do it without if you wanted to. I happen to love peanut butter, so I don't mind it. And when you put peanut butter and chocolate together, I just can't say there's much that can beat that. I love peanut butter and chocolate together. After I get these all rolled out, I'm going to put them into the oven for about 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to watch them. And you want the edges to brown. I'm thinking they're going to kind of spread out a little bit. I hope not a lot. We will see. And soon as, you got to have your candy ready, because as soon as they come out of the oven, you're going to put a chocolate kiss into each cookie. So I've almost got these done, and I'm going to put this into the oven. I think I'm going to have more than 24, so I may have to uncover a few more chocolate kisses. And I have to fight myself not to eat them. But they're even better in a cookie. All right, I'm going to finish these up and get a batch into the oven. One thing I would say, if you were going to make these for a large crowd, taking them to a cookie swap or taking them to work with a lot of people, you might want to double the recipe. I'm getting more than I thought I was going to get out of them, but still, for a large crowd, you might want to have a doubled recipe. I think I'll probably have 2 pans full. So that'll be, so I'm probably going to have about 48. So I'll come back in just a few minutes and we'll have a cookie finished and a chocolate kiss in there with it, and we'll see how they taste. Be back. So they stayed pretty small, just like I had hoped they would do. Perfect size, about 10 minutes in the oven, and take them out. And as soon as you get them out of the oven, put that chocolate kiss in. Doesn't that look great? Yummy. It's turned out perfect. So you may want to make yourself some peanut butter chocolate kiss cookies. Mwah!